Andy, my dude, have you heard of the magical website builder known as Squarespace?
Ugh, not another Squarespace ad. I feel like every podcast is sponsored by them.
Hey, don't knock it till you try it. Yes, okay, it is overhyped, but actually it lives up to the hype. Squarespace is like a website fairy godmother. With a click of a button, your site transforms into a beautiful masterpiece.
A website fairy godmother? That sounds interesting. What makes it so magical?
Well, for starters, those slick templates make anyone look like a professional web designer. Pick one, customize the colors and fonts to match your brand, and voila. Plus, the drag and drop fluid engine is so easy, your grandma could build a site on Squarespace.
Well, she did knit me a lovely scarf last Christmas. Maybe website design is next.
Exactly. And when you're ready to sell your Nana's handmade scarves online, Squarespace has built-in e-commerce. Add a store with one click. Get flexible payment options. Then watch those sales roll in. And when she wants to teach others her steezy scarf skills, Squarespace's new courses feature is just the ticket. Nana can set up her curriculum and enrollments and payments in a snap and become the next e-knitting influencer.
Oh, wow, you really sold me with the grandma angle. Sign me up for that free trial.
Just go to thenextreel.com/Squarespace and transform your site into a beautiful Squarespace masterpiece.
Well, thanks, Pete. Even though it's overhyped, Squarespace actually sounds perfect for Nana's site's needs. Appreciate the warning on the ads, though. I'll brace myself next time I listen to a podcast.
Anytime. Let me know if you need any help getting that site up and running. Andy, can you believe we've almost hit 700 episodes of The Next Reel?
I know, it's crazy. And with all the other episodes in our family of podcasts, we are well over 1,200 episodes of movie conversation. It's really pretty amazing that we've gotten to have these in-depth movie chats every week for over a decade now.
And we couldn't have done it without our loyal community of film fans. Their support over the years has meant so much.
For sure. That reminds me, we should give the merch store a shout out. Buying shirts from thenextreel.com/merch is a great way listeners can continue to support the show. Plus, they get to sport our great designs.
Absolutely. I think sometimes folks forget we have a variety of shirts, mugs, phone cases, and more available. In fact, a great place to start is with a shirt sporting the Next Reel's logo.
We also have that classic Fast Times Spicoli Surf School tee, or the weirdly popular Rusty's European Tour shirt.
The one from National Lampoon's European Vacation. Why is that so popular?
Search me, but we have sold a ridiculous number of those. I guess there are a lot of Rustys taking trips to Europe?
We're always adding new designs based on movies we've covered, like our brand new design for a streetcar named Desire, featuring a streetcar named Desire. So if you want to rep your love of TNR and films, head to thenextreel.com/merch.
Every purchase helps us continue to have these weekly in-depth conversations. So visit thenextreel.com/merch today.
And as always, thanks for listening and being a part of the Next Reel community. We've got lots more great movie chats coming your way. I'm Pete Wright.
And I'm Andy Nelson.
Welcome to The Next Reel. When the movie ends,
our conversation begins.
In just a matter of seconds, you're going to hear a classic episode of this show from back in the day when we called ourselves Movies We Like.
It took us a while to settle into the show's format, so you'll notice some differences as you listen to these episodes. For instance, it takes us a bit of time to actually get into the conversation about the movie. Things like that.
But we're still proud of the conversations about the movies themselves, and we think they're worth keeping in the library.
So enjoy these episodes from our back catalog. And you can become part of our Discord community, learn more about the show, and find out how you can become a supporting member at thenextreel.com.
So thank you, everybody, for downloading and listening to The Next Reel. We appreciate your time and attention, and we hope you enjoy the show. I'm not sure how to do it.
Well, we'll do 1, 2, 3, beat, and that's when you'll hit record, and then we'll say it. So it'll be like, or 3, 2, 1. So it'll be like 3, 2, or we can not say 1. We go 3, 2, hello.
Okay. All right.
We'll just try it.
Okay. All right. I'm ready.
Okay, I'm ready too.
Count me in.
All right. 3, 2.
Hello. How'd that work?
I hope it worked.
Is that good?
You tell me, was it awesome? It sounded good on my end.
It sounded really, really strong on my end. Might have been a little hot. Might have been a little hot. A little enthusiastic, and that might have burned a little bit on the high end.
Yeah, it is us. So it's okay if it's a little hot, right? Good time.
Good times.
How was your week?
My week was strong.
Yes,
my week was strong. Yeah, it was I had sick kids. I was telling you, I had a kid who I think ate too many waffles, and on the way to the car, just exploded all over himself in the car and everything. It was horrific. It was really terrible. Nobody
ever wants that. That's not fun.
You're trapped in the car, and that was I wasn't even driving. I just had the part of the cleanup. To clean up. My poor wife was actually stuck with it. I have had it happen before. Same kid. On our way to camp. That was the worst. I was supposed to drop him off and his sister off at camp, and he threw up all over himself in the car. It was terrible, that part. Yeah. It was good. I'm trying to think. I didn't get out, actually, because we talked actually fairly recently. So I haven't been out to see anything since we last spoke.
I have seen something.
What did you see?
I will admit I saw it before we last spoke. I just forgot. I saw it, which is I should have remembered because I really loved it. But my wife and I went and saw Chronicle.
You did?
Yeah.
Totally. What'd you think?
I loved it. I thought it was a fantastic film. It really took the that found footage style of filmmaking and did something new and unique with it that I just really, really enjoyed.
That is so great.
Yeah. So definitely, if you haven't seen it, definitely check it out.
Okay. I'm definitely going to see. I had written it off because it seemed like it seemed in the vein of Twilight with better marketing.
Oh,
so I thought I would rent it.
It's so much better than that.
It's good on the big screen too, I hear. Right?
Yeah, it's great on the big screen. It's fun to see. And like I said, just the way that they use the cameras in this, because, it's like Cloverfield or The Blair Witch Project, one of those films where it's all shot through cameras that the different primary characters are using.
Yeah, yeah.
And then we're just watching it supposedly much later. But it's done in a style where these three guys basically develop superpowers after encountering this mysterious thing under the ground, and they can start levitating themselves and levitating things around. And so one of the things that the antagonist starts levitating is the camera. And so you've got these great conversations with him and other people where the camera now, instead of just having it like somebody holding it filming the other person, it's actually able to fly around them and get these great shots and everything.
What a great vehicle for introducing creativity into a found footage film.
Well, and it doesn't even stop there. It jumps to other people. There's this girl doing a video blog. It jumps to her camera. Later in the film, it jumps to security cameras. So you start seeing actions through any camera that's out there. At one point, it even starts jumping to all these different people's phones and just any sort of
great
iPad, iPod sort of device that has a camera in it. It's just really
very cool.
Yeah, it gave them so much flexibility as to what they were doing when they made it. I really loved it.
How'd it compare to some other of the big found footage films? Cloverfield.
I think it's right up there. And in fact, I was thinking that one of these days we should do a little found footage series.
Oh, totally. I would love to.
The great ones, and I think that when they're done well, I think they really work. So I think I think that would be a fun series to do.
Those are the only three I can think of right now. What are some other big ones I'm missing?
Quarantine.
Oh, yeah.
I love. I think I told you about that one years ago.
Yeah.
And actually, Quarantine is a remake of a Spanish film called Wreck, I believe, which actually has 2 sequels I haven't seen. And actually, I was looking online. I mean, there are so many found footage films. There's the Last Exorcism was one that came out, I think, last year or the year before. And then there was a really recent exorcism one that just came out like the last month, and I can't remember what it's called. It got really poor reviews, but it actually did amazing in the box office opening weekend.
Very cool. No, I think that's great. We should totally add that to the big list.
Yes.
Well, I forgot. I think I said last time we talked that I had started The Lincoln Lawyer.
Oh, right.
Yeah, I finished it.
Oh, good.
Yeah, second half better than the first.
Yeah, it's not a horrible movie.
I am. What's his name? I've already forgotten.
Matthew McConaughey.
Matthew McConaughey. Man, it's easy to get tired of that guy. He's so smug. Like, there are good-looking guys, and there are good-looking guys who are Matthew McConaughey smug.
Yeah.
He just knows it.
But you know what? Have you ever seen Frailty?
Yes.
That is a movie where Matthew McConaughey really does something different, and I like it so much when he does that. Like that one and Lone Star. He's done that not a whole lot, but when he does, I think that's when he stands out for me.
All right. No, I'll give that to you. But I think more he is the type of Matthew McConaughey, Southern lawyer, or preacher from Contact. I liked that.
Oh yeah,
I like that. That was strong.
Yeah, he was great in that one.
Yeah. What are we doing tonight? Do you know?
We're starting our little our series. I guess
Is it a series?
Well, it is. We're starting a trilogy of 2 films because the third one has yet to be made. I just learned this. I actually did not know that. We're going to do the Three Flavours Cornetto Trilogy, which is Cornetto is a British.
It's like corn nuts.
No, it's not corn nuts. No? It's those frozen ice cream cones that are like dipped in, what do you call those? Drumsticks. We call them drumsticks over here.
I thought they were a paper snack, like a ricey crispy snack.
No, the only reason that I knew that is because I heard them talking about it on the commentary, and I finally figured out what they were talking about.
Wow! Now I would like a cornetto.
Wouldn't that be great? So the Three Flavours Cornetto Trilogy, penned so eloquently by Edgar Wright and Simon Pegg, is the trilogy made up of Shaun of the Dead, which we're going to talk about tonight, the lovely 2004 rom-zom-com. and then we'll follow it up next week.
I gotta look for that though. What really? Rom-zom-com. It is a thing.
Yeah.
People have been saying that.
It's great. And then we're going to follow it up with Hot Fuzz from 2007. And then one day, I hear that it maybe 2014 is when this will be made. The third of the trilogy is called The World's End. And each of these films features a different flavor cornetto. that is it is the color of which, the ice cream flavor color of which is appropriate for the film. So Shaun of the Dead, it's a red strawberry cornetto because of the blood. So
what color is it in Hot Fuzz?
In Hot Fuzz, it's blue. It's the classic flavor, I guess, because of cops, And World's End is green mint chocolate chip. And I'm not quite sure what that's going to be about. Money,
I would
maybe.
Love some mint chocolate chip right now. So, Shaun of the Dead, I'm going to the Urban Dictionary to look up rom-zom-com, and it turns out that it is in a genre that includes only itself and the Christopher Moore book, The Stupidest Angel. And so it is a genre that only includes one movie and one book.
That's fantastic.
Which says opportunity.
That's right.
But what's even funnier is, you're looking at today was the big day where Google, did its whole thing where they united all their privacy policies, so the stuff you search for is now going to help define what locations show up when you search Google Maps. I don't know. But anyway, the ad that shows up on Urban Dictionary for me, when I search for rom-zomcom, it's a Google ad, and it's from funny t-shirts, hoodies, and bags at Noisebot. And the t-shirt that comes up is a stick figure in kind of a cheerleader yay position. And the slogan is, I pooped today. Yay! I pooped today.
I don't know what that says about Shaun of the Dead or
Me
you.
Or Google.
But it's fantastic.
And it's good. I pooped today.
That's really, really flavorful in the sticking with Cornetto.
So
flavorful. Yes.
So Shaun of the Dead, for those who have not seen it, can you talk about what Shaun of the Dead is about?
Yes. Shaun of the Dead, the story of a man having a rough relationship with his stepfather, Philip, and having a really hard time figuring out how to do something with his life and move forward in his relationship with his girlfriend, Liz, ends up kind of walking through life as his own zombie, only to realize that the zombie apocalypse has happened, and now he has to save his mother and his stepfather, or at least attempt to, along with his ex-girlfriend, now Liz, and her two flatmates, as they try to make it to the Winchester, the pub where they always like to hang out. Well, he likes to hang out, which is why his girlfriend dumped him. So that's, I guess, the long and the short of it.
The film costs roughly, now you're going to check me with your secret access, roughly $5 million to make.
Yes, I think that looks about right.
Compared to the movies we've been talking about, is quite a bargain.
Yeah, this was, when they made this, it was their first film. And so, as for all intents and purposes, they said it was a very low budget film. I mean, 5 million is, I would love to have 5 million to go make a film, but
seriously,
for them it was low budget. This is a group of people who, I think most of them probably came from the British sitcom Spaced, which they had created after watching Friends, and they felt, Friends was kind of, doing for an age that they didn't really feel like they fit into. Like, they never talked about things that they talked about as 20-year-olds.
Mm-hmm.
So they created this whole new Friends type of show called Spaced, with people who actually acted like 20-year-olds. And sat around, talked about, referenced movies and played video games and watched bad television.
What is so this is what's so brilliant about Hulu Plus is that, in fact, Spaced is available here to us on Hulu, because Hulu can't get any of the, a lot of the really good U.S. shows. So they get all these great BBC shows, and so we can actually watch. I'm going to watch it. I'm adding it to my queue. Have you ever seen it? Have you ever watched Space?
No, I'm very jealous because I don't have Hulu Plus, and it's not on Netflix, so I can't watch Space. I'm going to have to get Hulu Plus just so I can start watching all these British shows that we keep referencing, like the one you talked about,
Misfits.
Last time.
Oh, it's fantastic.
Yeah.
And that's what this reminds me a lot of. It's that same sort of vibe. Okay, so low budget film. It performed arguably very well, ended up making over 30 million in the box office.
And received really well.
Right. And people really like this movie.
Yeah. It got, on Rotten Tomatoes, 91%. Metacritic, it got a 76 out of 100. So for everybody, I mean, I think the vast majority of critics, they really liked it. I think a couple of the reviews, one of the BBC said, side-splitting, head-smashing, gloriously gory horror comedy that will amuse casual viewers and delight genre fans. And then Peter Bradshaw said, it boasts a script crammed with real gags, and I love this bit, and is pacily directed. and nicely acted. Pacily.
Wow.
I didn't know that was a word, especially coming out of a critic's mouth, but there you go.
So what is it about this movie that really shines for you? Like when you think of Shaun of the Dead, if someone were to say, what is it that you really like? If someone like me were to say sometime like now, what do you think? What really stands out and shines for you for Shaun of the Dead? Why did it do so well? What would you say if that were to happen?
I think the reason it works so well is because as you watch the film, yes, it's a comedy, it's a zombie film, it's a horror comedy, but it's very clear right from the start, like literally the music that plays as the credits, as the company logos play, is a piece from Dawn of the Dead. It's clear that this is a story, a zombie, not quite a spoof, but a zombie film made by fans and people who understand the genre, who really know the genre of zombie films and horror films. They know the conventions. They play to all those conventions while at the same time constantly maintaining just very clever, sharp comedy all the way through. Yet, even with that, they still have big moments of gravitas that keep you connected to these characters. So it's not just goofy funny. You have these moments like toward the end when Shaun, his mother, becomes a zombie and he has to kill her, and you've got like this heartbreaking moment where he really has to deal with it. And because of all of that, I think it stands out as a film made by fans who really understand the genre and love it, and they wanted to do not just a spoof but an actual zombie film that was also funny.
I think you're right. I think it would be better with Mekhi Phifer. I think he makes everything better, every zombie movie better, and Ving Rhames. I think I'm a huge Dawn of the Dead fan. The remake, I really enjoyed the remake.
Did you like the original?
Yeah, I did. But there was so much about the Zack Snyder, kind of aesthete that came to Dawn of the Dead that I really liked. But what I think, if we're talking about zombie movies, the zombie is typically the star, right? You go for the zombie. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
I mean, are you with me so far?
Sure.
What I like so much about Shaun of the Dead, and the reason I think it works so well, is that it is first and foremost, I think it is first and foremost the romance, right? First and foremost, it's about this guy trying to take control of his life. Right. I mean, that's what the story is about. And the cultural statement of the fact that, we're already zombies. Everyone around you is already a zombie. You're working in this horrible place with the selling appliances with a bunch of zombies. Whether or not they're actually trying to eat you, they're already zombies.
Right.
And so the fact is, his fight to escape begins the moment the film begins, as he's looking out windows and he sees people dropping dead, and he sees a guy eating a pigeon. I mean, that might as well be a reflection of him without any of these extraordinary zombie kind of elements. And I think, if you take the zombies out of it, it ends up being a sort of a quaint little British, romance, probably with, what's his name? Hugh. What's a hunky British guy's name who does all the movies?
Grant?
Yeah, Hugh Grant. Yeah, I mean, this could have been a Hugh Grant movie. Without the zombies, it would have been a Hugh Grant movie.
Actually, you know what this is? I just figured it out. This is the British horror comedy version of Fight Club. And the zombies are really just Shaun's Tyler Durden.
That's exactly what they are. We just figured it out. Man, you totally brought it around.
I did. Yay.
Nailed it. Just crushed it. But that was the thing that I like so much about it, because the zombies are sometimes, and this I thought was really artful. some of the most interesting elements of this film, of what's going on screen, happen behind the scene, right? Behind the primary subject of the scene, where you're watching the deal with the car crash. You're watching the what these, before they're discovered as zombies, are doing behind them. What they do to orchestrate the individual frame, I thought was really great. It never takes your attention off the story of Shaun and Liz,
right,
as they move through this crazy world and again try to take back the control, but it gives you such an unbelievably complex kind of layer of both humanity and horror all at once in every scene. I thought it was really great.
Yeah, it is. And it's it just, like what you were saying, just the way that they tied it all in all aspects. You're seeing, when you watch it multiple times, and this is something else that lends to appreciating it over those multiple times. You start noticing all those things in the background. Like you notice that, person walking down the street, or the jogger who runs by in a shot, and then a few scenes later you see the exact same shot and you see the jogger run by, but now he's not jogging, he's just running for his life because there's zombies chasing him. All those little things that you don't really catch the first time because it just kind of all zips by, and you're paying attention, like you said, to the story up front.
Well, and I think the transition is that would be the scene that strikes me as the most interesting, right? Is that transition from awareness or ignorance of the fact that there are zombies to awareness, where he wakes up in the morning and takes the walk to the store and then back again. Now I'm
completely ignorant of the fact that the world's now overrun by zombies.
I'm actually looking for. I'm scrubbing through it because I think it wasn't a single cut, was it?
No, it is. It's a single
take, right?
No, it's not. No, it's not. It does cut when he goes into the shop, I believe, but it's all done in pretty much the same style as the very first time we see him walking through that thing. Right. And it just shows you how much of a zombie Shaun has become in his own life. When the zombie apocalypse takes over, he doesn't even realize, like, when the bum is coming up to him to attack him and eat him, he's just like, "Oh, sorry, mate, I didn't even have enough money to pay for my drinks."
Right, nothing is abnormal. He's staring so attentively at the ground that no, it's still he's in the shot. It's still a single cut.
Is it? Okay.
It's really, and there are bloody handprints actually on the refrigerator door, and he doesn't see them.
And he slips in the blood on
the
floor.
He slips in them, doesn't catch it. Right. I mean, the fact that his world has changed so much around him and he's completely ignorant of the fact it's a really it's sort of a special lesson, Yeah. And I think that to go back to the house and to be flipping channels and not and flip through all of the most important news that would have told him that the world is crumbling around you.
Did you catch what they did with that, which I think is just genius?
What part?
Where he's flipping channels. Mm-hmm. If you could just close your eyes and just listen to it while he flips the channels. They're not, yes, there are key things happening in each of those things, but it's designed in such a way, it totally reminds me of those Mad Magazine bits where it's like,
if you fold it in or something?
No, not that one, but they would have this thing where it's like going from channel to channel. It was like a spread where it's just a picture of like 20 televisions, and it's like somebody changing the channel, but it's like one sentence. Like when you read through the page, all the little bits as they change the channel turns it into, instead of just a commercial for Dove soap, all of a sudden it turns it into this like silly, lascivious, story or something like that. And that's exactly what's happening with this, where, we hear them talking, we hear the first news bite and then she ends with, and it's turned into and then it cuts to the song Panic on the Streets of London. you know. And it just keeps cutting, and then when it talks about like eating, like catching them and eating them alive or something, it cuts to like a nature video as these lions
Are
taking
tearing
out
apart a gazelle.
yeah, I mean it's done so fluidly, and you don't even catch it right away the first time, but it's so funny. It's just so well done. So sorry, I totally interrupted you.
Well, no, it made me think. Do you remember? I guess this is a thing. Blackout poetry or redaction poetry.
I'm not sure what that is.
Well, I wasn't entirely sure what it was either. I think I know what it is. You know Zay Frank?
Nope.
You don't know Zay Frank? You didn't watch the show, Zay Frank?
No.
Oh, he's a mid-level internet celebrity, and he had a show every day. He put on like a 5 to 10 minute kind of interactive entertainment piece on his website. It became very popular. He only did it for 365 days. He's kind of a musician and jack of all trades, inventor, coder, and he's bringing back a show. This is a short story long version of this. And he started out with a Kickstarter project. He wanted to get $50,000 to, get a new camera, hire an editor, and actually do a real show. And as of this morning, still 7 days left. He's got like $120,000 pledged because people really like him. But one of the things, if you pledge $100, if you pledge $100 or more, he will tear out a page from Moby Dick and send you a blackout poem on it, where a redaction poem, where you black out.
I get it, right. I get it now.
You end up with a poem. That's what this makes me think of. See, wasn't it worth it?
That is worth it. That's totally very clever. Very clever.
I'm going to start doing. That's going to be my new genre, my oeuvre. Blackout redaction poetry.
There you go.
All right. So let's talk about the general sense of effects. Did you do talk about the effects in this film?
I don't know a whole lot about the effects of this film, unfortunately.
All right,
I did listen to the commentaries for this one, but unfortunately, as wonderfully fun as they are to listen to, they're really useless at giving out a lot of interesting information. It's a lot of fun, though. They're having a great time.
That is, I totally,
yes,
totally see that.
Those foul-mouthed Brits.
Well, the gore is pretty good.
It is, and actually they do use. They talked about it a little bit. I guess they use some real effects and then some CG effects.
Yeah.
A perfect example is when Mary, the poor sad little zombie in the garden,
falls on the table.
Falls on the whatever that thing is, like the umbrella post or whatever.
Yeah.
She falls on that and has a huge hole stuck in her. That's a mix of real effects and CG, and they do that quite a bit. But I think there's a lot of both, and obviously all the zombie makeup effects and everything. It's done in a really fun way. The zombies, for the most part, they're not too overdone. They're done pretty simply, and I think it's all very effective. It works really well. One
of the things about the effects, you're right. It works really well because the way, many zombie movies, many of these horror movies, particularly comedy horror movies, they have sort of a ramp up period where, the first and second act, they get progressively more vile.
Mm-hmm.
And then in the third act, it just sort of falls apart. And, you end up with the effects that end up becoming really overdone. And I think the way just the general, if you were to, for me at least, when you plot the effects in Shaun of the Dead, one of the things I really like about it that keeps it funny is that I don't know if the effects start falling apart really early, like they just end up pulling effects stunts really early in the film when they start chucking records at the zombies and they stick in his head and those. And they're arguing over what records to throw.
Right.
I think because they set the pace so well, finally, when what's his name, the stick in the mud boyfriend,
David
gets pulled out the window, and they yank his legs off and fall back, and then start beating the rest of the zombies with his legs. Somehow, I believe it.
fantastic.
It is. It is really. It's fantastic. This is. I feel like. I think I find this movie so approachable because it feels so much like a movie I would have been involved with in my younger days.
I feel like I would be involved in it
right now.
I'm like, oh, let's go make it. It's just so fun. I mean, I think that's what it is about it. Is it just everything about it just reeks fun? You know, it's all so silly. You've got these, you know, the wonderfully, you know, mild mannered British mother who's been bitten, but she's tucking the tissues in her sleeve so that she can hide the blood because she just doesn't want to trouble anybody, you know. I mean, just all of those things are just and then you've got, you know, the stepdad who you know, Bill Nighy as the stepdad.
Bill Nighy.
Oh my word. If he's not one of the just best British actors out there.
What is he doing in this movie?
He's stealing the show. That's what he's doing.
Totally. You know, he is his is one of the one of my favorite character voices from or characters from you know, the Harry Potter. You know, it opens on I think it's 7 part 1 or 7 part 2. It opens on his mouth. These are dark times, you know, and you see the spit coming out of his mouth. I couldn't believe he was in this movie.
Yeah, it's so great seeing him in this. It's just so great. I love
Truly. Let's see. Martin Freeman.
Yes, he's got a wonderful cameo in it.
Wonderful cameo. Martin Freeman is coming up. He's
the star of my 2012 Best Picture prediction.
I was just going to bring that up. The star of The Hobbit. He is going to play the young Bilbo in The Hobbit. He is also Dr. Watson in the fantastic BBC version of Sherlock.
Yes.
And let's see. The other performance that I really liked is that of Lucy Davis.
Oh, yes. I just love her.
Truly, she is adorable, and I was absolutely addicted to the Office, the original British Office.
And she had a great bit in Studio 60.
She did. Oh, she was so great. She was one of the writers, wasn't she? Yeah, she was terrific in that series. Yeah, boy, I'm trying to think of other really standout sort of characters I've seen before.
Well, I think Penelope Wilton, who plays the mom,
the mother, yeah.
I mean, she's been just in everything. And if you go over to England, she's been in all of it. Yeah. I mean, she was in Woody Allen's film Match Point. She was in Pride and Prejudice. She's been in Doctor Who. She's in Downton Abbey. You know, I mean, and then if you go back, you know, she's been in just a ridiculous number of films and TV projects. So she's been around the block, as they say. And yeah, and then you know, I think everyone else probably they just pulled from Spaced and the other projects that they'd worked on.
So what can we talk about Edgar Wright in bringing this, in his inspiration for this film? What did you figure out here?
Well, I think it was, you know, he's clearly a fan of movies. You know, this is not a film where the camera just sits back and you don't notice it, right? This is a film where the camera is very active. It's a very lively style of filmmaking where the audience is probably going to be aware of the fact that it's made as a movie. You know, you've got these really fast whip hands from one thing to another. You've got these fantastic little series of shots when he's like when, you know, normally it's the sort of thing you see like in an action film when the heroes are getting all the weapons ready and it's quick cut as they cock the guns and as they put them in their holsters and as they, you know, just all the different things that they do when they're getting ready. You know, he uses that same style, you know, like when Shaun is getting ready to go to work and he's flushing the toilet and he's brushing his teeth and he's spitting and he's closing the mirror, you know, like all those things. And it's so silly. But all of that lends to this this comedy style that Edgar Wright has in his filmmaking. It's a very lively style, and you can see it in Hot Fuzz. You can see it in what's the other movie that he made? The video game one.
Oh, Scott Pilgrim.
Scott Pilgrim versus the World. Right. He just makes these really active films, and it's just a lot of fun to see, and you can tell when you watch the movies that he really is having fun making them.
Right. I think I agree with the segment you talked about in the beginning, watching him get ready for work. The one that I keep coming back to is the segment where he's talking about what it's going to be like to go rescue his mother, kill his stepdad, and go rescue everybody, and then where they end up going. And he says his plan, and then Ed says, well, what about such and such? He says, oh, all right. And then they do the whole thing again. And each one of these little segments that they keep repeating about the story that will play out as he's fantasizing about it is that same sort of whip pan up, cut, whip pan side, left and right, cut. It's so fast. Close up on the finger on the doorbell.
Right.
Pull back on the mother with Ed and Shaun running arm in arm as they sit down and drink a cup of coffee on a settee out of a mug that says, "What a genius I am." And then again and again, finally they end up drinking beer, and there's just nothing plays out the way it should. And finally, the zero to hero kind of payoff. Transformation, final sort of transformation, where he is confronted by the ultimate evil in the Winchester, and David comes out and says, "We've got a problem." From the closet or from the back fuse room, and the zombies start pouring into the place, and he he's wrestling with the bartender,
right?
And
as Queen Don't
is
Stop
playing.
Me Now blares over.
And they start, it's a sort of a dance.
It is. It's like a little music video. It's like this choreographed, you're watching a musical. It's a zombie musical, as like the West Side Story of musicals, instead of like snapping their fingers in the knife fight.
That's right. That's what it is. But it doesn't end up playing out like that. It doesn't end up playing out like finishing the job. You sort of expect the music to reach this sort of peak and crescendo, and then somehow they'll kill all the zombies, but it just keeps getting worse for them, even to the point where Diane throws a dart and hits his skull, and he's standing there with a dart sticking out of his head. It's
him being Shaun,
not the zombie. It just keeps getting worse. Eventually, they're trapped, and he, you just feel like, gosh, this guy has worked so hard to escape. Both the metaphorical zombies of his life and the real zombies now that are in the bar, and they just keep closing in. And I just love the framing of that final shot in the bar before they go down in the cellar, where they're all on the floor in the bar right over the cellar door, and the zombies are all reaching down over the bar. And as sort of funny as the movie is, it's just this kind of haunting, you really think you can escape. But you can't. Sorry, you've worked so hard.
Right.
And so how does the coda hit you at the after the?
It's very cute. I mean, it fits well with the nature of the comedy that they're doing here. They get rescued. I just love the whole tie-in between Shaun and his team, and then his ex-girlfriend and her team.
Right.
That little bit. They get rescued, and then we find out that Ed, and actually we haven't even talked about Nick Frost, who's just fantastic.
Yeah,
a vulgar comedy genius in this, but he's now a zombie living in Shaun's shed, and
his life hasn't changed a bit.
Nope, he just goes out. Shaun goes out and sits down with him and plays video games with him. Oh my word! So you look at in terms of the overall character arc, I sort of feel like even through the course of the I'm sorry, there's a segment where they're getting distracted because I have the movie
playing right now. And there's a segment where, they're driving to rescue mom, and they run over a guy. Turns out he's already a zombie, so they're very relieved, and they run in. There's the camera pulls and pulls up, and it's on a neighborhood watch sign, and it says keep alert, neighborhood watch. But I think the neighborhood watch symbol is like a family of meerkats.
It is. Isn't that weird?
What is up with the meerkats?
I don't know. I always wonder that. I'm like, is that a standard sign in England?
Yeah, I've never
never
seen
that.
Before.
They have a bunch of meerkats as their like neighborhood lookout.
Right. Well, anyway, so I distracted myself. It was so if you look at the character arc of Shaun as he goes through the course of this film, and then in the end, in the coda, after everybody is sort of the story has resolved, he ends up with Liz. They are drinking tea. He goes out to play video games with his buddy, who is now a zombie and lives chained at the neck in the shed. And life is back to normal. Mm-hmm. And what I find so wonderful about that is life is back to normal, and the zombies have been sort of reintegrated into society after Z-Day, and really substantively nothing has changed.
Right.
Which is, what do we learn from Shaun having gone through this experience?
I don't know what we're learning from Shaun other than, I don't know. It's okay to go on and live a zombie life.
Well, there's something to it, though. I mean, when you look at his, when you look at this transformation for him, and in many respects, what the zombie day did for him was kickstart what Liz asked him to do all along, which was to just grow up. Mm-hmm. And he lost his mom and his stepdad and arguably his best friend, and the world that he knows is his roommate.
It's a flatmate.
Flatmate. Sorry,
they're in England.
They're in England. His flatmate. He's lost everything, and as a result of losing everything, he ends up with the girl, happy in a world as a grown-up.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, I mean, their whole house is completely... It's the same house, but it's completely redone in a very grown-up style.
Right.
Yeah, he's got a...
It's good.
Yeah. Happy life.
I quite liked it. I thoroughly enjoy this movie. Every time I watch it, I see more that is... I see more that is just really subtle, and the comedy is just really right on. And I mean, there's just, I don't know what it must be like to actually be British. Would the stuff be as funny? I don't know any. I wish I had if you have any British listeners out here who really tell us what is everything I watch of this sort of style of British comedy is equally funny. Show me something that's not, because I'm telling you, for people who are just, I don't know, I could get in trouble.
You're gonna, it's just funny.
They're so dry, and yet how is this so funny to me? It's just so raw and perfect and subtle and new, all of these things all at once, and and it's just really expertly well done.
It is. I'm going to call you Captain Wow.
I totally earned that. I love that. It's hard because there's, like, you're right. There isn't a whole lot of kind of behind the scenes stuff on this film, and I haven't spent a whole lot of time looking. But I'm really exuberant about this movie.
You know what they did do, which I actually didn't look at, but they actually made a few comic strips which are on the DVD, and I feel like I did watch them at one point, but like when I first got the DVD, I don't know, 8 years ago or 7 years ago, whenever it was, they have these little comics that they picked a couple characters. One details how Ed survived in the basement, not being eaten, but was able to survive so that he could go on and play video games with Shaun in Shaun's shed. The other one is about Diane, and after David is pulled out of the window and ripped into pieces, and she runs out with his leg to go, I'm not sure what she's intending to do put him back together or something. But anyway, she apparently survives, and it's a little story about how she survives. And then the third one is all about Mary, which they conveniently titled There's Something About Mary. And Mary is the girl in the garden who they, the first zombie they really encounter.
Right.
And so it's her little story, which is
really
how
funny.
she first became a zombie and everything, it's kind of a fun little thing. So, I mean, if you're really into this world that they've created, I mean, there are other little bits that they've put out there for fans to enjoy. It's quite fun.
You know what I didn't know about our man Nick Frost?
What's that?
This guy's everywhere. He was in Adventures of Tintin.
Yeah, he and Edgar Wright were the two. Not Edgar Wright. He and Simon Pegg were the two twin police officers.
Yeah, Thompson and Thompson.
Yeah.
Had no idea.
Yeah.
Snow White and the Huntsman.
Oh, I didn't know he was going to be in that.
Gus.
Fantastic.
Not a character name I would expect in a movie like Snow White. Gus. Snow. He was the other prince who didn't quite get there in time.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic. So we're going to do Hot Fuzz next week? Is that the plan?
Yes, we are.
Was I not supposed to say that?
No, I already said it earlier.
Oh, good. Well, okay, so we're going to do Hot Fuzz next week, which is also the spiritual sequel.
Yes. Before we go, I have to. There's a few funny lines that I have to say. Oh yeah,
all right.
Because they just make me laugh. The first one, it's a scene when Shaun is buying flowers for his mom, and the wonderful shopkeeper is offering him 2 cards. She's like, "Would you like a card with that?" And he's just like, "Yeah." She's like, "We've got this one. What a wonderful mum," or something like that. And then the other one, "Or pow, super mum." Oh, I just want a card that says "Pow, Super Mom" that I could, with like a big like Batman, explosion that I could give to my mom, because that's just so funny.
Totally.
Pow, Super Mom. And then when Philip, the stepdad who's bitten, the mom is just like, "Well, they're all we were attacked. They were all a bit bitey," and then Bill Nighy just so wonderfully is just just sitting there on the sofa. He's just like, "I'm quite all right, Barbara. I ran it under a cold tap."
The scene that lights me up, as long as we're talking about favorite lines, it's actually the whole scene when he and Liz are talking in the very beginning of the movie, and they start talking about Ed and about David and Di, who are sitting right there.
Yeah, which is that's another fantastic way the film was made, because you think you're just having a conversation intimately between these two people.
Exactly. What is it? It's just with Ed here. It's no wonder I always bring my flatmates out, and then that only exacerbates things. What do you mean? Well, you guys hardly get on, do you? No, what does exacerbate mean? And then it comes back to it, the exacerbate bit. Look, I don't get what the telly says. All right, we have to get out of here. If we don't tear us to pieces, then that will really exacerbate things for us.
Oh, man.
It is
It's
perfect.
So funny. How's that for a slice of fried gold? Yeah, boy. Oh man.
Big Al says so. Yeah, but Big Al says dogs can't look up. It's derailing.
It is.
It is really great.
It is. It's a fantastic one. It's just a fantastic one. Captain Wow. Oh my.
Where can, if they would care to, where would they want to find you, Andy?
Remove the head and destroy the brain. Sorry.
He says he wasn't feeling very well, Pete. Oi, prick! He's not in.
Oh my God, this is a great film.
Okay. So where are they going to find you? if they wanted to find you online?
At the Movie Monkey. If they want to.
On the Twitter.
On the Twitter.
On the Twitter.
You can Twitter me at the Movie Monkey. Or you can Facebook me at the Movie Monkey. I feel like I've been drinking, but I haven't.
Yeah, no, it really sounds it.
I've clearly just been having too much fun with this one.
Oi, prick! He's not in.
He's not in.
I am Pete Wright on the Twitter and Pete Wright on the Facebook and, pretty much everywhere. You can make sure you find the show at rashpixel.tv. And let's see, subscribe in iTunes, and we are available on Stitcher Smart Radio. You can grab the show on your Stitcher Smart Radio app on your iPad, iPhone, Android phone, Kindle Fire. If you've got a mobile device, you can download the Stitcher Smart Radio app and catch up with all of your favorite shows. So I think that's all I have to say about the matter. Am I forgetting anything?
Yeah, boy! Oh, man. I think we're good.
Here at The Next Reel, we've been passionately discussing movies week after week since 2011. That's a lot of movies and a lot of conversation.
Sure is, Pete. And to be honest, it's a lot of work, too. But it's work that we love. If you have been enjoying our show, we'd like to remind you that there are ways to support us, even if you're not able to become a member just yet. You might have heard us talk about our new watch page, where we've listed every movie that we've talked about, paired with Amazon or Apple links to rent or buy the movie.
Now we'd like to introduce you to our originals page. Let's take a trip down memory lane, Andy. Do you remember what the first film we discussed on The Next Reel was that was an adaptation?
Well, let's see. It wasn't obviously our Indiana Jones series, because those were all original. Then we did Charlie Kaufman. Oh, of course. It was adaptation from Susan Orlean's Orchid Thief.
Exactly. We have covered quite a few adaptations over the years, and now we're providing a way for our listeners to delve into the original source material.
That's right. Just head over to thenextreel.com/originals, and you can see the list of all the adaptations that we have discussed.
From our David Fincher series, featuring The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, The Social Network, Zodiac, Benjamin Button, and Fight Club.
To our Paranoia trilogy with The Parallax View and All the President's Men, we have covered a variety of adaptations.
Those were some great discussions, especially Fight Club. And let's not forget our baseball series with The Natural and Field of Dreams, adapted from Shoeless Joe.
And Up in the Air and Thank You for Smoking. So many memorable conversations.
Absolutely. And you know what's exciting? Each purchase you make through our links doesn't cost you any extra, but a percentage goes to support The Next Reel and our family of shows.
You can support us while diving deeper into these fantastic stories, whether it's the paper, audiobook, or Kindle version.
We've also included plays and movies. If they were the source, we've put it on there.
So what are you waiting for? Head to thenextreel.com/originals, support The Next Reel, and get your next great read today.
I'm off to reread Fight Club. Now, where did I put my Kindle?